Well, folks, our next guest, this is quite the title. He is the TEDxSanDiego organizer and chief architect. Give it up for Mark Lovett, everybody. Mark, thank you for coming. I appreciate seeing you here on the couch. I know you're a regular at our show, and I always appreciate you supporting us. And you're very tall. So,
but only when I'm standing up.
Only when I only noticed today.
You're taller
weird.
than me.
Now,
right
look who's tall.
Yeah.
Ted. I almost called you Ted. That's weird. Okay. I got TEDx on the mind, you know, and a lot of people have heard of TED Talks, but maybe you could explain for us TEDx, a little bit different. It sounds like maybe sort of an X-Men that got a nerdy name or something. We'll just call him Ted, and he'll be an X-Men. What is TEDx?
So the TED organization started back in 1984, annual conference, and they wanted to expand their reach to a broader audience. So they came up with TEDx, and the X just means it's independently produced.
Okay.
So they thought maybe a couple dozen people would be crazy enough to do this. And last year there were 3,600 TEDx's in 170 countries.
Wow. So it's all over the world, but you are the organizer and chief architect of the TEDxSanDiego. Tell me a little bit about that title, organizer and chief architect. How do you get a title like that, and what exactly does that entail?
Well, you get a title like that when you just make it up.
Oh, good. Nice.
So it's like I have the license, I can just come up with whatever title I want.
Nice. Keith calls himself the Grand Vizier of our show. It's pretty cool. He's got...
And Lord Imperium of the Podium.
He also calls himself the Unburnt, the Mother of all Dragons. He's got a lot of titles, so it's pretty
Well, it depends on what day of the week it is.
Yeah, that's right.
But the organizer just means I find people crazier than me to be on my team. And then the architect is I figure out what's going to happen, and then I just stand in the back and they go out and do all the work.
Okay. Now, I had read that you used to be a judge, a wine judge. Is that correct?
In a former life, yeah, for about 15 years.
15 years.
Judging wine competitions.
Okay. So how is that different than judging TEDx? And how did you get from wine to speaking without slurring, I guess is how it...
Well, TEDx is about watching amazing people go out on stage. And a wine competition is about spitting for 8 hours.
Spitting for 8 hours?
Yeah. Because if you don't spit, the consequences are dire.
I got you.
It becomes a much shorter competition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see a judge one year who kind of forgot the spitting part, and it was kind of noticeable by the afternoon that they needed a nap.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's how I taste wine too.
Yeah, I've never done that. I figure like they give me a little cracker in between, that's enough to absorb it, right? Let's go with that.
Exactly.
So you got an upcoming event. This is the big one. This is TEDxSanDiego, October 14th.
Correct.
How do you go about picking speakers for that? Are you integral in figuring out which of those people you want to speak, and how does that work?
So it starts with about a 4-month process of developing a theme behind the show.
Okay.
And that happens in the last 4 months of the year, and by January 1, I kind of know what that theme is. And
what are past themes that you've had?
2020 vision. This year our theme is Created Futures. So it talks about the future that we create individually and together.
Okay, very nice.
And then I review hundreds and hundreds of applicants to find 12 speakers.
Okay, and what are some of the qualifications that you look at to see whether you want that person to speak or not?
Well, the TED tagline is ideas worth spreading. So you're really looking for somebody who has an idea or a concept that you think the audience wants to hear.
Okay.
Something that's unusual, out of the norm.
I got you. Well, the reason I bring it up is because Keith wanted to do a TEDx talk. He had a few that he was going to pitch at you.
Excellent.
I don't know if maybe
I thought you'd never ask, Jesse.
Yeah.
Let me just
see if
pull
maybe
these out right here.
any of these are worth doing. You know.
I mean, just the tie alone could get him
It's
on
a good
stage.
tie, yeah.
All right, I'll add that to the list. So the first one I think actually fits with one of those themes you mentioned. Prescription windshields, glasses, get off of my face and onto my car.
That's pretty good.
It's a pretty good idea.
I don't know how the rental car industry works that way, because you'd get in the car and you'd be completely blind. But
All right. Well, I got plenty.
Okay,
I got plenty.
let's try another.
Stay-at-home cat dad, the perfect job of the future.
What do you think?
Yeah, that's right up your alley.
Here's the best one. Hashtag co-host life. How to be a late-night sidekick to yourself.
That one actually has potential. We should talk about it.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. So let me ask you then, what are some of the speakers, some of the topics that you are excited for this next TEDx San Diego?
So this year we have the CEO of a company in Los Angeles that does augmented reality.
Augmented reality.
Augmented reality, where
That means-
you wear a visor that actually provides information other than what you're seeing in front of you.
Okay.
That actually sounds exactly like mine.
Yeah.
I live in an augmented reality.
Right. He takes a lot of drugs. So, so is that like virtual reality? That is,
Well, virtual reality is usually taking you to a fictitious place, like you're on a desert island.
okay.
Whereas augmented reality, you could be in a nuclear reactor, and somebody halfway around the world could be showing you photos of, how to repair equipment.
Cool.
So they're augmenting what's right in front of you.
Okay.
So we're going to try to do a live demo on stage,
Wow.
which will either be amazing or will crash and burn, not really sure which.
You never know.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as there's no nuclear reactor there, I think you'll be all right. So you just conducted a storytelling workshop for 25 entrepreneurs from Africa. Tell me about that.
So they were here as part of the Mandela Washington Fellows Program, and they were spending 6 weeks at USD doing all sorts of entrepreneurship training. And a piece of that was storytelling, which was both personal storytelling and brand storytelling.
Okay.
So I had each of the individuals tell me about the company they were starting and tell me a story about their brand to see if they really understood it.
Interesting. So you're also coaching Navy SEALs, right? Is that in storytelling as well? Is Navy SEALs coming back to the workforce? Is another project you're working on?
Right, there's a group called the Honor Foundation, and they train Navy SEALs to re-enter society because they've been kind of hidden away from society for a long time. Now they have to go out and actually get a job and reacclimate. So they haven't been able to tell their personal story for a long time. And part of them coming back is telling that story. So I'm going to work with Navy SEALs in both Virginia Beach and here in San Diego.
Okay. Do you have to coach them a different way, like in a military style? Like, drop and give me 20 stories? Or, I mean, how does that?
No, storytelling has the same elements. It's really pulling out that essence of what they think is important in their life.
Gotcha. And do people use humor in any of these stories? Is that something that you can use in TEDx to convey your message, is some jokes?
We always recommend humor. Rarely do we recommend somebody tell a joke. So it's usually more self-deprecating humor or the kind of humor that the audience will relate to.
I see.
But it really kind of breaks the ice between the serious parts of the talk.
So you run a program also called Speaker Adventure, and that is taking a group of 6 clients through the storytelling and stage presentation process. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we coach them on their story up front. We dig into what's this idea that they want to spread, and then we create their narrative. And then 6 people come to San Diego for a 2-day retreat. And during this retreat, we teach them storytelling and stage presence. And they get up and rehearse in front of the other people and get live feedback.
Okay.
And then on the second day, they're actually up on a stage. And they rehearse in the morning, come back in the afternoon, do their final talk. They walk away with a 15-minute video of their idea that we started with a month earlier.
Very nice. Could you give me some stage presence advice on how to convey my message a little bit better?
Well, you're such a master, that's a challenge.
Oh,
but
thanks. Oh, this is why I have you on.
But one of the things that I try to get people to do is when they're writing out their script, to use a lot of periods and a lot of paragraphs and to think about pauses.
Okay.
Because when people write, they'll write this big block of text and they'll just read it through and you'll lose the message. You break that up into 4 smaller paragraphs, make your sentences shorter, and you will naturally deliver more meaningful content than you will if you're just rambling on.
That's good advice. So the main advice is to stop.
Sometimes.
Okay.
And then pause.
And then pause.
And wait for the next idea.
I like that. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about the upcoming TEDx and some stuff that you're looking forward to.
So our TEDx is 12 speakers and 3 performances inside Symphony Hall. So we have 1,800 people there watching the show.
Wow.
I'm excited about the performances that we're going to have this year, where we have one in each of our 3 sessions, and we're going to open up with a classical pianist up on stage. And then for the second session is a jazz pianist playing with a quartet. And then for the third, they're both going to come back out together with 2 grand pianos on stage, doing an original composition that blends classical and jazz into one tune.
Okay. Are they going to do speaking too? That sounds like they're cheating.
No, the performances are separate from the talks. So last year we had a 17-piece swing band. We had hip hop dancers on stage.
Nice.
Every year we mix it up and do something different.
Okay. Now, if people want to get involved, where can they find out more about TEDxSanDiego?
TEDxSanDiego.com has all the information. You can not only sign up to be a volunteer, you can nominate yourself to be a speaker. We have a form on the website, so a certain gentleman over here with a wild tie could nominate himself.
He can nominate himself?
You can put in a good word for me, right?
Yeah, if you put in the comments that you know me, I'm not sure if that's a positive or negative.
All right.
So you got to be cautious about that.
And can he use a sort of inflated title when he nominates himself?
Oh, he can inflate that title as much as he wants.
Okay.
But we completely ignore titles.
Lord of the Dothraki. Try that one. Can
Yeah,
do
there
that
you
one?
go.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Thank you for being on the show. Mark Lovett, everybody. TEDxSanDiego. Stick around. We'll be right back with more tonight in San Diego right after this.